Hey everybody, and welcome to this live stream of Power Your Job Search with Google Tools. I am Megan McFall. I am the director here at the USU Blanding Small Business Development Center, and I am excited to be with you today and show you how you can use Google Tools to take your job search to the next level. I'm co-hosted today by Talia Hansen. She is in the chat and moderating that, so if you have any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to put those questions in the chat and she will address those. If she gets any questions multiple times, she'll go ahead and feed those to me and I will talk about those within the presentation and we'll make sure that all of those get addressed. We will also do a Q&A at the end of the live stream to make sure every question gets addressed before we close out the webinar today. I'm excited to be able to share these skills with you and to go over them. If you are sharing this on social media, please hashtag Grow with Google as well as USU SBDC. And I love getting on social media and seeing those tags and seeing where we're being joined from. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, you can start closed captioning. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You can start closed captioning right there on your Google Player by hitting that button if you would like, as well as if you have any questions while watching the replay, please put those in the comments. We moderate those every single day and get back to you. Or we also have our contact information in the description that you can contact us directly if you have any direct questions. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to take a moment to recognize our co-hosts. So we're hosted today by Google, Grow with Google on Air, as well as the ROI initiative, the Rural Online Initiative as well. I want to recognize their support in all of this as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And let's talk about job search. So I want to talk about a few things real quick. Many people are launching either new jobs, a new job search from home because of COVID, or the different changes that we have going on, maybe looking for a new career because of changes in their company, different things like that, but they're launching a new job search from home. So there's a few challenges that we're facing as we are looking for a job search from a remote location because we're on kind of this staying at home mentality right now because we're protecting ourselves, right? So there's some few things that we're looking. Number one, we are missing out. There's fewer opportunities from that word of mouth of hearing about things from word of mouth because we're not in that shared office space. The other thing is we might have distractions at home that we didn't have when we were at work, whether we're managing childcare or domestic responsibilities, or maybe just a new living arrangement that we didn't have before. So the other thing is remote work opportunities or remote work options are a little different to do, and we might not have the skills for that. So those things are things that we're facing right now, and finding solutions for that or working around those are things that we need to work on or work and adjust. So first thing I want to do is I want to talk about if anybody was like me when COVID kind of started last March and we all went on the quarantine, right? First thing I did, I'm going to wrap myself out here. I slept in. I stayed in my pajamas all day. I was famous for taking my laptop to bed or just grabbing it from the side of the bed. And I kind of threw all routines out the window and I loved it for about 2 weeks. And then I realized that I had low productivity. I wasn't getting things done. I was a little depressed. I kind of thought, I went into the quarantine mindset that it was only going to last for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we would go back to normal. Like that was the mindset. And when I realized that it wasn't going to be that way, I quickly realized that things had to change and I needed to get into routine. And so my first tip for you as a job searcher from home is to keep your routine. First, create, if you don't have any right now, create them and then keep them. So if you normally shower and eat breakfast before you get ready for work, keep doing that. Maintain that routine. If you have set schedule, like a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, schedule like that, go ahead and keep that same routine, and then get back on that normalcy, because that's what you're going to want. Stay productive, because it's going to make it easier once you get that job as well. Okay. Create a dedicated workspace. Like I told you before, I was famous for just staying in bed and working from bed. And it kind of became a bragging right thing for a little while, right? We're staying at home, we're working from bed, we're staying in our pajamas. 2020 is the pajama year, right? You want to get dressed, you want to have a dedicated workspace so that you're mentally preparing yourself. When I am in this space, I am working, and you'll find that your searches are more productive, your mental frame's more productive, you're in the mindset, right? And so if you don't have the luxury of having an at-home office and you're setting up at a table, sit in the same chair, set at the same location, so that your mind is prepared to work when you're in that particular location, right? Next is schedule yourself lunch breaks and dedicated breaks. We're not meant to sit for 8 hours. We're not meant to be at a computer for 8 hours straight. So make sure you're scheduling in those lunch breaks and dedicated time to get up and walk around to rejuvenate yourself. You'll find that you're more productive when you do that. Your mind's really only meant to work for about 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours at a time before it needs a break. So get up, walk around, maybe get a little snack, and then come back and go back to work. You'll find that you're much more productive if you do that. Gather the tools that you need to be productive. At home, we don't necessarily have all of the tools that we would have at our office. So make a list of the things that you might need to be successful. So, if you need a stapler and you don't have a stapler, then get a stapler, and make sure that you're set up for success. By doing without, sometimes that we hurt ourselves and we don't set ourselves up for success. So I challenge you, set yourself up for success. The other thing, create a daily to-do list. That way, as you're going throughout the day, you can feel productive. You're checking things off your list. At the end of the day, you know exactly what you got done. And then before you close out your day, create the next day's to-do list so that it's fresh on your mind. You know exactly what you need to do the next day. That way, the following morning, you're not like, what did I need to do? What kind of things did I need to wrap up from the day before? Whatever that might be, do it before you close out the day so you're prepared for the following day. Also, have a stop. When you're done with work, you're done with work. Don't just do that one more email that you need to do. I'm famous for that. 10 to 5, right? I have one more email. I can close that out really quick. And then all of a sudden it's 6 o'clock and you're an hour past your time. You need that dedicated stop time, because you're at home. It's really easy to go over that. It's creating that balance. Make sure that you have got that stop time. That way that you can unplug, put your work away, and you can be with your family, or you can be with friends, whatever that might be, but you have that shut off time, because your work and your home is now in one space. You need that shut off time. And then last but not least, make sure that you've created that balance so you know what that is. So that you're ready to go. So today, as far as our agenda goes, we are going to, in Sheets, we're going to create a tracker to help you in your job search. And then once we have built this tracker in Sheets, it's going to show you how to track and the relevant information for your job search. I'm going to show you how to search for jobs and filter the jobs that you might really be interested in and might actually so that you can set up job alerts so that they will automatically come to you when you're ready for them. Next, we are going to, in Google Docs, we are going to look at creating a resume and look at using templates to help us do that faster and create a proper design for your resume. And then finally, we're going to look at the interview process. And the interviews have shifted from face-to-face interviews to actual virtual virtual video conferencing interviews. And a lot of people are nervous about those. And we're going to talk about that so that you can ace your interview. So let's go ahead and get started. Last but not least, I'm sorry, we're going to talk about learning from anywhere so that we make sure that we have the proper job skills. So first thing we're going to do is track your job search in Google Sheets. Okay, I went through the job search process. This position is actually new to me through COVID. I am a business owner, but COVID also hit our business a little bit. And so we made the decision that I would go and get a job. And so I looked at Utah State and the perfect job came across. And I'm going to wrap myself out a little bit again because I only know my story. So I'm talking about my story a little bit. I did not have these skills that I'm talking about. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing them, right? So I went online and I did the searches, and I searched every day, and I applied for different jobs and things like that. And I found the job posting was business consultant for Small Business Development Center. Perfect. I knew what Small Business Development Center was as one of my networking groups. We send people to the Small Business Development Center all the time. It was perfect for me. So I pulled that and I applied for it. I missed a very important aspect. I missed the location of the job, Blanding, Utah. It was a bit of a shocker when the person doing the hiring called me and let me know it was in Blanding, Utah. And if any of you know where Blanding, Utah is, go ahead and search that. And you look that up. It's a little bit of a, it takes a minute to kind of get used to that idea. My business partner teases me to this day about applying for a job and not knowing the location. I did not realize that there was a business consultant SBDC in Blanding, Utah. I thought they were all in the Wasatch Front. It makes sense that there's one here, but long story short, I did not do my due diligence and fill out a tracker and know the location of the job in order to do this. So we're going to put together this information that you need that's relevant for every person. The relevant information of a job is going to be totally different, right? So let's look at this. What we're going to do is we're going to log into your Google Drive. So you can follow along and do this with us if you are able to, or you can just watch. That's up to you. So Google Drive is a cloud-based storage that will hold all your documents and things like that. I love Google Drive. It's one of my favorites to use. The reason why I love Google Drive is because it's cloud-based. I can access it from anywhere that I have an internet connection and a computer or my phone. And so if I need a document, I can pull it up on my phone. I can pull it up on a tablet. I can pull it up on basically anywhere. I can start a document anywhere, and I don't need to have my computer necessarily. I just need to have my phone or a computer, and I don't have to worry about it being saved on a public computer either, because it's saved on my drive. So that's one of the advantages of having it. So the GIF here is showing logging into Google. So if you go to google.com and then you go to sign in, generally if it's your computer, you're already going to be signed in. But if you're not, you go ahead and click sign in, put your username and password in, and then you're going to sign in. So next, we are going to go into and find your drive. Now, in the apps, it's the 9 little box setup. In the apps section, it's going to do the most used apps or your most used apps. So nobody's is going to look exactly the same. So you might have to look around a little bit to find your drive. So if you don't use Drive a lot, you use Google Docs and you use Forms, you use different things like that. It's going to be in a different location. So look around, and then if you need to hit more and find it on the more section, you can as well. But just so you know, the most used goes to the top on that. So you're going to click on Google Docs, and it's going to bring you up to a screen that looks like this. On this screen, we are going to go to Sheets. On this one, there's not a template set up for this already. We're going to have to design this ourselves, and that's kind of nice in the aspect that everybody is going to be different. So you're going to go to New and go to Sheets and Blank Spreadsheets. And it's going to bring you up a completely untouched spreadsheet that we're going to have to format ourselves. So if you go to that, go New, Sheets, and it's going to bring you up a completely blank spreadsheets. Now, if you've never used Sheets before, I'm going to go through this and kind of explain it, break it down to you a little bit. So in Sheets, every cell, there are cells, they're rectangular boxes that are called cells. Every cell has an address. And those are based on where it's located. So every column has a letter associated to it. So A, B, C, and those are across the top. So every row has a number associated, 1, 2, 3, and those are down the side there. So every address, every box has an address. So that very first box in that corner is in A1 because it is in column A, row 1. So we can go to the next one and it would be B1, or we go down 1 and it would be B2. So just so that you know, that's kind of how a spreadsheet is set up, and that's how you can follow along on that. So that's how those are set up. So we are going to start formatting this, and we are going to start putting in different information. So along the top, we're going to start putting in what we need to track for our job tracker. So we need to track the job title, the company name, the salary our job's going to get paid, right? We need to track the website of the company that we're going to apply for. And how about some notes? There are other things that people are going to need to want to track. Like for me, I needed to track location of jobs and know where the job location is, right? Other things people want to track are like benefits maybe, or perks of the job that they are going to apply for. Other people might want to try distance between home and the office for commute time, because that could be a big thing in places like California where traffic is heavier than, say, Utah. But let's be honest, Lehigh, Utah right now is feeling a little bit more like California due to all the construction. That's where my office used to be. So there's things like that. You can put all of those things in different cells and lay that out along this the spreadsheet so that you can track that and make sure you're tracking the same information for every job. So you can compare apples to apples for every job that you are essentially looking at. So as we are we can do all kinds of formatting in this. We can change the font. We can put colors in the cells. We can change the color of the writing. We can do all kinds of different things within Sheets. If you would like a more in-depth look at Sheets, you can go ahead and take the class. The Sheets has 3 different classes, Sheets 1, 2, and 3, and it takes you through all kinds of different editing and explores all kinds of different aspects. So if you want to get into deep editing, we don't have time today, but if you want to get into deep editing, there's Sheets 1, 2, and 3, and those are offered on demand through our center here. So you can communicate that with me and I can help you get into those. So our next thing, now that we have our job tracker set up, is we want to search for jobs. So we're going to go back to google.com and we're going to search for jobs. So in this GIF, the user is writing in jobs near me. That is one way to do it. I suggest that you get a little more detailed, maybe an industry, maybe a specific detail about the jobs, maybe customer service job, maybe retail job, maybe an engineering job. For me, it was business related jobs or finance related jobs. Those are kind of my background. I also have a background in restaurants, so I put that in and search. So those type of things are things that you want to get down in. If you are wanting to work from home, you can do that as well. But putting those in will help Google narrow in on what you are looking for. What Google does is takes what you are searching for and looks at all of the job postings and pulls them all into one location. Now, if you are a veteran and you are searching, we will go into details specifically for veterans as well. So hold on just one moment. So this gives you an idea of what essentially, so a job posting, jobs on Google search will bring up. So when you put in jobs near me or jobs something, Google search will automatically pull in jobs, and it will pull in whatever job postings are related to your search. So just so that you know, that's how you get to the jobs on Google. I'm losing my train of thought. I apologize. So this is what the page would look like. You can go down and look at these different job postings, and by clicking on these job postings, you can get further information. You can also save these job postings, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So next, you can get a little more detail. So there's jobs near me, and it brings up those job postings, but you can also get into some filters, and those filters are important as well. So if you click on any of those job postings that we just talked about, you can get into more details of those jobs. So if we look at this, so for example, this is an engineering job, and it goes into more details. So it tells you ways you can apply for this job, all the different, like, for example, places that it is posted is in the blue. It tells you how many days it has been posted. It tells you the salary range that's on there, the location, what type of job, whether it's a permanent, temporary, part-time, full-time, and then when's the start date. And for this particular job, it's as soon as possible. So that's the really neat part about jobs on Google, is that it gathers all that information for you that you can put within your tracker, and you're ready to go. And it is really, really informative on each of the job postings that it has. You can also click on the different aspects. So now let's talk about veterans. Searching for veterans jobs. For veterans, if you put veteran before any of the information that you search, Google was going to ask you for additional information related to your job. So if you put veteran jobs near me, or maybe veteran or IT jobs for veterans, or maybe veteran manager jobs, your next screen is going to ask you for your MOC number, so that it can take the keywords within your MOC job description and look for jobs related to your MOC. So it knows that you are experienced in those related field, and it will pull specific jobs related to that, both military and civilian. So that's the really cool part about that as well, and it will help. So your MOS, I just said MOC, MOS. It'll put that, you can put that in there, and it will pull that for you. So that's a really, really cool aspect for the military, and be able to get that specific for you as well. So whether you're transitioning into civilian career or just moving forward with a new job search, your next step for your search results may be that you need to filter down and get very specific on what you're really looking for. The really cool part is there's all of these filters built within the jobs.google that you can filter down and get exactly what you're looking for. So you can filter by job title, you can filter by location, you can filter by the post date of the job, you can filter by the type of job, or even the employer. A lot of those are set up across the top that you can just click on, and it'll automatically narrow those down, or you can select your specific filter that you want and type that in. So very, very cool, and very cool way to set that up. So the other cool part about jobs at Google is you can set up email alerts so that it is automatically coming to you. So job postings are posted irregularly. Employers don't have a schedule, like job postings aren't just posted on Monday by all employers. There's no rule like that. They're posted all the time. And so job searching can take up a lot of time if you're doing it manually. So after that initial search and you know exactly what you want and those filters that you want, you can turn on your own posts or your own alerts. So as you're selecting these filters, like for example, that last one was a sales filter. When she put that filter on, she can also at the bottom of her screen, you can see turn on email alert there. You can click that button and it will turn on email alerts and it'll send those to your Google box. So say this person right here wants to have work from home opportunities because they might need to stay at home for various reasons. It might be COVID related, might be high risk. It might be that they have children and need to be at home, whatever that might be. So they might be turning on the work from home filter right here so they can get alerts for jobs that they can work from home, and then turning on that filter or that alert so that they get announcements or get emails when those are announced, and they can get on that immediately and be some of the first to apply. Really, really cool feature, and it's automatically done to come through. So the other really cool thing is that you can save your job. So say you come across a job and it's one that you really like and you're interested in applying, there is a save button over here on the right hand side. You can click save and it'll flag that particular job, and then it will go under saved in the middle of the screen. You can see at the top there's a saved section there, and then you click on that. It will have all of the saved job titles that you've saved, so that when you go back to reapply, you're not searching through all of them. You just need to search your saved or go through your saved to reapply for those jobs. So we talked about turning on your email alerts as you're turning on your filters so that you know exactly what you want. Turn those on so that you're not redoing your filters as you're figuring out which saves you want. So you can also turn them off the same way. So now that we're at a point in our job search where we've hopefully found several opportunities that we want, and we've added them into our tracking system, so that we have all that information that we need for each company, we should be ready to apply for these jobs. Now, applying for these jobs, we're going to need different aspects. For example, we might need a resume, portfolios, different things like that. Today, we're going to talk about building a resume. We're going to use Google Docs to build that resume. Now, I have an actual workshop on building a resume that is a part of the Monday schedule. And so we're not going to go deep diving into resume building, but I'm going to show you the basics of resume building. So we are going to go back to our Google Drive. We're going to click on New. We're going to click on Docs, and we're going to actually build this one from a template. Okay, so back to Google Drive, click on Google Docs and build from a template, and it'll bring us up to the load of templates that it has. And actually there's about 5 templates for resumes. Now, here's the thing about templates. When we have templates, every single template's going to be a little bit different, right? And your particular career or profession might need a specific style, or might need less color, or if you're a designer, you might need more color to show off your skills, or whatever that might be. So you might need to be a little more selective in the template that you use. And so those templates, a lot of them are designed for specific industries or specific types of jobs. And so you might need to talk to maybe some colleagues. If you're not sure which one you should use, talk to some colleagues that are in the same industry or the industry you're trying to get into if you're trying to do a career shift, and find out which template would be best for you. So figure out which template you should use. These templates were actually designed by resume writers, designers, to make sure that they fit best within those industries. So that's one of the reasons why using a template is very good. The other thing is the templates themselves are actually editable. So like, for example, you might like, because there's pink here, not all guys like pink. Some do, not all guys do. You can change that color to a color that you like. You can change the fonts to the fonts that you like. The key is the style. Is the style something that you like? Is the style something that works for what you are going for? And that's the key. You can change, you can edit other things out and adjust things, but the overall style is what you're looking at. Basically what you do is you start your template, you're going to rename it. Like in this particular, Adaria renamed it to Adaria Patel. I have to say that slowly or I really mess it up. Renamed it to her resume. She added her name. You go in and you fill that out and change it to your information. Essentially the information that's in there right now on any of the templates are placeholders for you to go in and fill in your information on that. So this one, on this particular one, she picked Modern Writer. That's the name of this particular template, and she is in the process of filling it out for her needs. So the template is prearranged with specific formatting. The reason why it's done that way is so that everything is stayed in particular style or design throughout the whole thing. But like I said, it is all adjustable. It is all changeable. And so she's going in and changing the font. She didn't like the font, and so she changed the font so it fits more for her professional taste and her style. And you're more than welcome to do that, and we encourage you to do that because it should fit you and your style. If you are a graphic designer and you want to show your ability to design on your resume, please do, because that might be the first impression your design firm gets from you. And so you might want to add a little bit more to that. Whereas if you're going for more of an office assistant type of a professional type job, you might need a very professional, not as much design on your resume. It's very professionally written, very outlined, very letter style, so that you can show that ability. So every resume is going to be a little bit different depending on the career and the job posting. So heads up on that. So when formatting your resume, some things that you can do within Docs is add comments. Comments is a really cool thing. So if you're going throughout a resume and you don't know a specific detail, for example, on this particular resume, she does not remember her start date. And she's got to find out what day she actually started in this position. So you can go in and highlight a section and add a comment. She's got to find out her exact start date. And so you can add comments within that as you're building your resume of things that you need to remember to do so that you have those notes and you can go back and fix those areas or fill those areas and add that information. So essentially you can put like little placeholders in to make sure that you don't forget anything. So it's a really great area to do that with as well. So while you're in your job search, you probably are going to apply for multiple different jobs, maybe in different areas. The other thing, key thing about in your job search is that a lot of jobs these days, the first screening is done by AI, and they're looking for keywords within a resume. And if your resume does not have the keywords from the job description, then you don't even make it past that first AI screening. And so you need to make sure that your resume fits that job description. So you might need multiple different copies of a resume to fit those job descriptions, right? Or you might have a sales resume, or you might have a business resume, or you might have an office type resume. There might have multiple different depending on your personal experience. And so you might have to do multiple copies. So you can go into Google Docs and do a copy of your resume, name it something else. So like this particular one she has under sales, and she can go in and copy it, say that she, in addition to sales, she's really good with customers, obviously, because she can do sales. So she might have a customer service resume. She can go in and copy it. She probably has really amazing computer office type skills. So she might have an office assistant, executive assistant type resume. So those different types of resumes are going to be worded differently, so they'll fit those different job descriptions, so that as they're going through the AI screening process, they'll have those different keywords in it, and she can make it past those first screening processes. And so she'll have those different resumes. So as you go through that process, you're going to want to have those different resumes. You can, instead of building each different one from scratch, you can go through and then create a copy and rename it and make those adjustments to each of those jobs. Okay, so as you go through this process, you're going to want to have people read through your resume and give you hints or give you feedback, different things like that. So you can actually share your resume through Google Drive, and give them different access to your resume. So you can give them, there's 3 different levels of access. Number 1, you can give them can edit. That means they can go in to your resume and they can type on it and change it for you. I highly recommend you do not give them that much access, because it is saved automatically on your drive and you won't have the original copy, unless you obviously have an original copy and then the edited copy. That is an option to do, but there's easier ways to do it. The third option is you can do an can comment access, and so they can go in and, just like you put a comment to remember the start date on there, they can do the same thing. So you go through and they find something that is incorrect, or you're missing a skill that they know that you have that you need to add on there. They can add a comment that says you are amazing at customer service and you need to emphasize it, or remember that award that you got for your top salesperson in the company, whatever that might be. They can put those comments on the resume just like you had done, and then you can go back and add those things. Last but not least is can view, and then they can view that, but they can't put any comments and they can't do any edits. They would have to call you and talk to you or send you an email about their thoughts. So those are the different types of shareable and editable information that you can give them, and then you can make adjustments based on those. So I highly recommend that you send that out within the little comment section. Write a note, say, hey, I am applying for a job. I would really like your feedback on this resume. You just really give a really brief little note. I generally like to call people before I send them a resume and say, hey, I really would appreciate your help. Is it okay if I send this to you? And then send them a thank you note after as well for their information. So sorry. The other really cool part is that you can, at the bottom here, you can see get a link. You can get a copy of the link for each of your individual resumes. So whichever resume was sent out to each individual company, you can put that on your tracker. So if you are an amazing person that is not me, because I did not do this, and but it's highly encouraged if you talk to different people that are in the job interview space. If you go and do a different resume for every single job that you apply for, and tailor make it for every single job so that it fits all of the keywords and every single aspect of it, then you can actually put a link to that resume right on your job tracker. So then before the interview, you can go and click on that resume, and you can review the information that you've sent them before that interview. So you know exactly what information that company knows about you and what you gave them. So just a heads up, that's something that you can do, and that's actually really, really nice to have, because you might send one set of information to one company and a different set of information to another company, and even though it's very similar it might be slightly different, and you need to know what information each company has, so as you go into an interview, you're prepared. So very, very smart to do. So strong interview skills with Meet, Google's Meets. So whether you are doing it on Google Meet, Zoom's another really popular one. We're going to review Meet. A lot of people are really, really nervous about doing virtual interviews, and it could be because it's kind of hard to see a picture of yourself staring back at you, because that's what happens. Google Meet does have it a little tiny one in the corner, so it's not quite as daunting, but there are a few tips that we can do to kind of minimize that a little bit. But just like anything else, practice kind of helps eliminate some of that, and takes down that nerve. So Google Meet is a video conferencing tool that allows us to connect with family and friends and colleagues. And more businesses are starting to use Google Meets within their companies as well. So that they can connect with people. Interviews, even post-COVID, were being moved more, pre-COVID, were being moved more to online, at least the first round, so that it could minimize costs. And I think that it's going to kind of stay on. That initial interview, at least, is going to stay on even post-COVID, as we continue to move forward. So it's something that I think is going to stay. So it's something to practice and to be prepared for. So if you are not used to it, let's go over a few things that can kind of calm your nerves and get you prepared for that. So here's a few best practices that will help you kind of go through this process. So first of all, look directly at the camera. So regardless and depending on your device will depend on where the pictures are. Like for example, I'm going to show you an example of what it's like. So your camera is usually at the top of your screen up here, and the pictures are down along your screen. So if I have multiple people and they're talking in this corner and I look over here and I'm talking to them, it may look like I'm not making eye contact to the person, even though I'm looking at them. It can be hard and distracting if they're looking directly at you and we're talking, and then I go over here to this side and it could look that you're distracted and you're looking at other things. So as you're answering questions and things like that, look up and look at the camera so that you look like you're making eye contact to those that are doing interviews. And it can be one person that you're doing an interview with, and it could be multiple people that you're doing an interview with. So make sure that you're prepared for that as well. That can be a daunting thing because it's virtual. It's easier to gather more people up and do fewer interviews as well. Because they're virtual, we can get more people on at the same time, and rather than doing, say, a two interview process, we can do a one interview process and just have all of the people in the interview at one time. So that's another thing to think about. Another thing to do is make sure that you speak slowly. As we get nervous, we start to talk really, really fast, and then we can't understand each other. And all of a sudden, we're talking even faster, and it's really slow, and our anxiety gets going, and that starts to happen. So make sure that we take a deep breath and we slow down. And if we notice that we're starting to speak fast, finish our sentence and take a deep breath. Maybe get a drink of water. And pace ourselves, because as we start to speak fast, and I do this, you'll notice in some of my presentations, I'll get nervous and I'll start speaking really, really fast. And I have to remind myself, Talia will kind of nudge me. I'll get a note in the corner of my screen, slow down, you're nervous, slow down. Because I still get nervous, and I do this all the time. I'll get nervous in front of a classroom, and I do it all the time. So pace yourself, slow down. If you notice you're doing it, slow down. Pay attention to your lighting, wherever you're at. Pay attention to your lighting. So put a light behind your computer screen. I have a light behind my screen right now, so to light me up, because it's a gloomy day, and it was really, really dark. So put a warm light behind your screen that can shine on your face, as well as change the background lighting on your computer to be a white light, because that light will shine on your face as well and light you up, because and that'll make it easier to see Also, pay attention to your background. Because we're at home, a lot of times our office is becoming our kitchen, our living room, our dining room table, and even sometimes basements. And so that can make a big difference what is in our background. Make sure whatever is in your background is well presenting you. It could be just a white wall, or needs to be something aesthetically pleasing to present yourself professionally. Also dress professionally. Something that has kind of, again, where 2020 has become the pajama year for some reason. Well, we've been home, let's be honest, but you're at an interview. Make sure you're dressing to be at an interview. So dress professionally, be ready for that interview. Also, when we dress for an interview, we act a little bit differently. We put our shoulders back a little bit. We act a little more confident. So make sure you fully dress from head to toe for an interview, not just from the waist up. That's another big joke that goes, oh, I only have to dress from the waist up. Dress fully for the interview. Don't have pajama bottoms on and a professional top. Do full interview because you act differently when you're fully dressed for an interview. You're more confident. You smile more. Your head's higher. You will do better in your interview if you fully dress for the interview as if you were going in person. So make sure that you do that. And then last but not least, practice. If you have not ever done a video conference call, practice. Google Meets, get on Google Meets, set up a time to meet with a friend to practice going over this. Get used to being on camera, get used to talking on camera so that when you go into your interview, you're prepared. Know that your mic works, know that your speakers work, know how loud you need to speak, know if you need to have a headset, things like that. Have all of that in place. If you need to, if you have never done any of that, if you've never used Google Meets, we have a workshop called Collaborate, Meet, and Work Remotely that we did a few weeks ago. So we've got the replay up as well as it is coming. It's on our schedule in 2021 as well. So go ahead and jump on that so that you can learn how to do that. So we've gone over these 4 tools today in Google Sheets. We created a job tracker so that you can track the process as you were going through this the job search process. In Google Search, we have talked about how to search for jobs and how to narrow, filter, and turn on alerts so that you can make the job search process much faster. In Google Docs, we talked about creating a resume and the process for that. And last but not least, we talked about Google Meets and how to do video conferencing. In every single one of these areas, we've got further education, and that is all scheduled in 2021, as well as we've got past that you can watch replays on as well. So we hope that you have gotten some valuable information for today. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat, as well as we'll have a Q&A after we're done with the live. So some next steps as we go through this, if you did not do this as we were going through, create your job sheets, tracker and sheets. You can go to sheets.google.com, and a lot of people don't know that. That's an actual website to access sheets and create that. You can search for jobs and create filters for your jobs in your area and different opportunities. You can visit docs.google.com and actually look at all the different templates that are available there for resumes and select the right resume template for your industry experience or style. You can experiment with mock interviews using Google Meets at meets.google.com and set that up with different friends and colleagues so that you are prepared for when you get your interview. And last but not least, consider other professional workshops to help you grow your career. And a lot of as you're going through and you're reading job descriptions, you might read different things that you might either need to brush up on or learn. And there are different opportunities to do that. Like I said, we do ongoing training throughout the year, as well as we have the replays, but you can also learn from anywhere. Google On Air has some great opportunities to do that. So you can learn if you are an on-demand type of a learner. Applied Digital Skills is a great place where you can go and do on-demand. We can help you line those lessons up and to learn that. To get that information, we can also help you line up the it was formerly called the G Suite certification. It's now called Workplace certification. We can help you line that up from our center. As well as if you like little quick 5-minute lessons, you can, for business and marketing lessons, they have Primer. It's an app on your phone that gives you about every day, it's a 5-minute lesson for business and marketing. And then last but not least, grow.google has these different areas where you can get digital lessons to help expand your knowledge in these different areas as well. So all of the apps are available online at these different websites or through your Google Drive. I thank you for coming today. I know we went a little bit over our time. This is a bit of a longer lesson, but I wanted to make sure I went over everything for you and that you're ready for your job search. We thank you for coming today, and I'm going to go ahead and move into the Q&A section of this. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments. And we appreciate all those who took the time out of their busy schedule to join us. You all have a wonderful day, and we will catch you on the next webinar. Have a wonderful one. Bye.